Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman. And today, we're back. We took a little week off. To take it all in. Andor wrapped up and we needed time to take a breath and bring it all in. But we did promise, as we'd sort of said before, that we would do a little roundtable on Series 1. We couldn't just leave it hanging. There was too much going on in the finale to just leave it. So we've got a full deck tonight. We've got all the previous guests on, so let's just start at the start. Let's just start with the person everyone's here to hear from. Catherine, hey, imagine if I just said, Dale, it's good to see you. But Catherine, how you going, mate?
I'm okay. Like, I've been very sad since Andor's finished. I don't know what to do with myself.
Watch it again.
Well, it's going to be school holidays soon, so I'm sure that'll keep you busy. It's not, I was going to say, even though the summer is terrible at the moment. But anyway, we'll come back to that. But Dale Williams, how you going, buddy? Good to see you again.
Fantastic. I'm going really well.
Excellent. And we'll just round it off with that guy, Matt Mohl. How you going, mate?
I'm honoured to stand before you. Honoured to be a son of Ferrix. Honoured to talk some Andor.
You've been so excited. You've been messaging me for the last week and a half going, when are we going to do it? Like, I know you've got a lot of moving parts and logistics and stuff. So you're just like, is this when we're going to do it? We reckon tonight? It'll be this time, this week or next week? Just let me know.
Yes. That's been my. I'm Matt Kneen and we've got Catherine Kneen. So
yeah, not
and Jacosta Dale.
Catherine was mispronounced Catherine Kneen for years and years by Steele Saunders as well. It took probably 5 years for him to get that name right, but that's the curse of the podcaster. You always go with the first name you hear. I nearly did actually reach out to Steele because he's in Melbourne at the moment, but I think he's got enough on his plate, and we've got a pretty full deck anyway. So we don't need those fancy pants podcasters. We just get by with the team we've had already. But yeah, look, the dust has settled. How's everybody feeling a week on? Catherine, let's start with you. It feels like it's starting to get the plaudits that you were kind of hoping were going to come now. There seems to be a little bit of nominations and things.
Yeah, so nominated for Critics' Choice Award for Best Series and Diego nominated for Best Lead Actor. I looked to see other nominations to see if there were some supports, but I couldn't find it. I didn't Google very hard, I have to admit. I've had a very busy few days. But yes, it's getting fantastic plaudits, as it should. Just brilliant quality. And yeah, I can't wait till I can shove this work thing aside.
I just assumed you're going to say I can shove the awards in people's faces. I just assumed that was where you were going then.
Well, yeah, that will also be me. That will be me, going, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. I'll just have the I told you so dance down at Celebration, shoving it in everyone's face of, yeah, I told you so. Told you it would be fantastic.
Can I just ask, if he doesn't win the award, are you going to go like full Kanye and run the stage?
Like, yo,
this is Diego's award. Yeah. What have you done?
Look, going full Kanye probably has different connotations.
It's going to be something different these days.
Anti-Semitic monotones now.
No.
Yeah, so, maybe some storming the stage of, the best of all time.
If Taylor Swift manages to beat Diego Luna to that Best Actor award somehow, only Eric Struthers will be happy. You'll maybe have to take it out on Struthers. I did see that Andor it was in the top 20 shows of the year on the NME, which is the New Music Express, NME.com. I think it got in at number 13 or 12 or something. So I was really going to send you the link, Catherine. I'm like, you'd probably get annoyed that it was only 13 and it wasn't high enough. But still, not a bad effort. How about you, Dale? Now a week on, how are you feeling? Are you feeling Star Wars withdrawals?
Yeah, I am. I purposely tried to stop myself from rewatching because I want to save it for over summer and just sit through the whole lot on a stinking hot day. But there's so much to take in on that final episode, and I think with the awards just starting to come out, that's just the beginning. We're going to see right through to the Golden Globes and the Screen Actors Guild. It's going to get more love as the award season continues. I'm positive of it.
And Matt, you've been just badgering your family members into watching Andor.
Oh, mate, it's been so good. Like, literally, December 1 came. I got my sort of hit numbers for the month, and I sort of hit all my targets for the year. So I'm like, ooh, December's going to be a nice, quiet one for me. So I got into a full rewatch, and it's got such good rewatch value, and I've been picking up on things that I missed the first time around, and then my parents got COVID, and my dad has never watched Star Wars ever. He's like, you're a Star Wars dork. I've never watched sci-fi. I'm never going to do it. And then he got COVID, and I knew he's like at the most frail of his vulnerabilities and time,
easily influenced,
very time rich, and he's like, I'm like, you should watch this show. It's so un-Star Wars that everyone loves it even more, and give it a go. And he got about one episode and 15 minutes in, and he's like, nah, it's not for me. I'm like, it's not what you think. Trust me, it's not like this. Because he was like, oh, this Casa story, I'm not really gelling with it, and it doesn't seem very my thing. And I, no, just get to the end of the third episode, and then pull up stumps if you want. And then I've been stalking the Disney Plus profile and just
checking his progress.
And then I'd send a random quote here and then. I'd be like, "You can't stay, and I can't go." And he's like, "Good line." And then he started going, one way out. And then I finally got this one. I shed a little tear when I got it. He's like, kill me or take me in. And I was like, I've never felt more connected with my dad.
It's like, when are we going to celebration,
you know what?
son?
I've never been a fan of conversion therapy, but what you're doing to your family is just absolute. That's love there. So fantastic.
No, it's been a good feeling, and I can't wait to actually go over there and start talking about with him, because over text I feel like I'm been annoying him for too long. I want to have a face-to-face roundtable as soon as it's medically an option.
What a Christmas!
Talk Star Wars
what
with
a
my
Christmas
dad.
dinner you got to look forward to. Yeah, I've got my extended family's Christmas. We have it like a week earlier because it's so big, and a lot of my cousins are all, I've got cousins that vary from big Star Wars fans to casual Star Wars fans, and I think they're all going to want to talk Andor. So, looking forward to that. It's going to be good. I'm just not quite sure where to start here. Like, I don't really feel like it's any point just recapping all the episodes, because we kind of, we did all of that. We've been through all of that. I think we'll just start. We'll start with where we started off and where we ended up. I think, and just as far as I know, Catherine, you were sort of predisposed to like it because it's your favorite character and everything like that. And I know that you were kind of going, well, I really hope that it's good because I've been making such a big deal out of it, and it'll be really hard to just sort of
yes.
But did you realistically, I know again you're predisposed, but did you realistically think it would be this good?
The thing I had in my mind was really good, like an Alias and that type of thing, real spy thriller. It's totally different from what I imagined, and it's totally different from previous Star Wars shows that we've had. This sort of level of writing and everything is just beyond, I think, what we've seen. It is, I've compared it to Succession and all of these award shows like Breaking Bad, the absolute creme de la creme. But this is what Andor is. I think I don't think I ever would have expected it to be that top tier, fancy schmancy, type of television show. I expected it to be fantastic ... for a Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Or a fantastic genre show, like in that sort of Alias type of thing, or the Americans, because one of the people involved was a person involved in the Americans. So I sort of thought, well, that lineage could sort of come through, and I think it did. I think we saw that. But yeah, for it to be prestige television, I think is blow me out of the water.
I don't think
And
it was.
you-
Oh, sorry, Catherine, finish up.
Yeah, I'm just, that those first 3 episodes, I was so nervous driving over to your house to watch it because I'm like, oh my God.
I put a
What?
lot of money on the table for this. I've really backed this
Oh,
horse.
God. Yeah. And I think you saw me in that I liked them, but it was that this is so different. It was really hitting very differently. And I was really of that, what if people hate this? Because it was slow.
Yep.
That description, much maligned of slow burn, was accurate in that it builds. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that was that first feeling after the arc of, I like it, but I don't know how this is going to be received.
Well, it's like you just said, Matt. Like, get your dad to watch it. The first 3 are the toughest to sell because it does a lot of setup and it kind of works its way through. But it doesn't really, it doesn't drop off. It just gets better and better. Like it's good, but it actually just gets better. And like you said, you just kind of get just stick with it. You'll get sucked in, and away you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I've known some people who haven't started it. And look, I've been sending nagging texts because it annoys me. But I always give that same advice of, watch it in batches of 3 of, look, watch the first 3 at once, in the one sitting. And I think that's what you've got to advise, and that, watching it in that sort of,
which can be a tough ask as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to just tell people to just sort of sit down and watch 3 episodes of something as well. And that was always like the genius move. I know it was like that devastation of going, oh, they've pushed it back 3 weeks or whatever. We were going to have 2 episodes, but
you saw my tears.
Yeah, but it was the right move, because I think that the second, if you'd ended on the second, it would have been a bit like what, like it would have felt unfulfilled. But I don't know, like Dale, what do you like? I reckon I wasn't quite sure what to expect until that trailer dropped. Once that trailer dropped, I kind of went, oh, like this feels and looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, I thought, I like Catherine, I thought it would be prestige TV just because of the people working on it. The only point of reference I had was The Americans. It was the only TV series linked to it that I'd seen, and I was really impressed with that. But then you never know with these things. Like, you can get it in your head based on a trailer that what the vibe is, and it can be completely different. And I think it was Star Wars for us, like the kids that grew up with it. It's got life experience, and it's got a maturity to it. And it's not nothing. Star Wars has always been for kids. This isn't. And to have that extra option is just brilliant. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Matt, you were at Celebration with us, and you're in the room when that Andor trailer dropped. And at Celebration, it was all about Kenobi basically, and like everything was like Kenobi, the Kenobi show. Let's watch the Kenobi show. And it was this weird kind of like thing that kind of just dropped in the middle of it, and that was really talking Kenobi anymore. That's not actually been that long ago.
No, I remember, we were all frothing for Kenobi because it was, hours away, and will we get a screener or a early release? And
Ewan and Hayden were there, and
exactly. And I was sitting next to Catherine at the time, I think, and our room they had technical glitches for the Diego Luna arrival, and I just looked at Catherine and I was like, God. And then I was like, really? Of all times to do it? And then we saw the trailer, and I was like, oh, Jesus, that's the Bell stuff and everything. It looked riveting. And I was like, well, going to have to revisit this. But, the focus immediately went to Kenobi. And funnily enough, after I finished Andor, I did get the SADs again. I was like, and I tried to start Kenobi, and it's not gripping me anywhere near as much. It's almost like, it's like not junk food, but this is like fine pizza.
But it's weird because we just ate it up. We ate up that fine pizza like it was the greatest pizza ever at Celebration. And
yeah,
it's just, I mean, this is the sort of the argument that's happened since, that Andor's dropped, and it's been great, but it is very much great in what it does because of the story and what it does. And like, just that talk of like, well, it can't all be like Andor. There's no point. If you'd made Kenobi like Andor, people would have been like, "What is this? This is a dirge. Like, I don't want to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi and do this or go through this." You know, like the first sort of 10 minutes of Kenobi's kind of having a bad time, and then after that's kind of adventures and things. But I don't think it's going to set the tone for Star Wars shows, but it should set the standard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Like, it's so funny, like, because I'm watching it and I'm looking at the Kenobi show, and I'm like, I can literally visually see the volume now. Like, I'm like, that's Obi-Wan on a camel on sand, and the rest is just fake screen.
Agreed, Matt.
And it's because I wanted to see if I could watch Kenobi with the same love after I've been Andored, and it just, I mean, don't get me wrong, at the time I loved it, and I still love it now. It just doesn't hit home as hard, I think. It's rewatch values diminish, and also like watching Vader in a quarry, like sort of rock gravel pit, it just looks odd now.
It's like they've just it's like watching
fighting in a car park.
It's like watching Red Dwarf or something that's just shot in some quarry in Kent, or on BBC money.
Yeah, I don't want to. Well, Starbusher, I think that the quarry is where Andor was. I've got the hookup. Kev's quarry.
Kev's in there.
Is it Kev's?
Kev's works the quarry, does he?
No,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you the story, Dale. Kevin heard a rumor that Star Wars was being shot at this quarry near his house, so he went to stake it out and sort of climbed up a hill, fell down the hill, and then the security guy goes, "Dude, what are you doing here?" He's like, he had a Star Wars shirt on. He's like, "Oh, okay." And then basically he wouldn't confirm or deny what was happening there, but Kev, for 2 years was wondering what he's seen, and it was that episode 11 on Narkina. Oh no, episode 10, that was Kev's quarry.
Kev's quarry.
Yeah. Where Andor and Melshi encounter the two Fisher people who take them on their quad jumper.
Um,
I don't want to run down other shows, and I think the biggest thing though is that for me the themes of Andor and even certain lines have stuck with me. And you think One Way Out, we're going to be chanting that. I'm sure there's going to be a running of the Narkina 5, One Way Out, through Celebration. Or even the elation you feel with Never More Than 12. That phrase, how pumped are you just to hear those words? And those sort of things have stuck with me more than what some other things in Mandalorian and Kenobi have. Not that I don't enjoy those shows. I do. I enjoyed them. Yes, I cried when Kenobi said hello there in the final episode.
Well, I think Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be the real interesting one because it's got the established track record. It's loved, no bones about it. Everyone's sort of frothing to see what happens next. I think it did. Book of Boba Fett. I feel like it was detrimental to the Mandalorian rather than it actually helped it.
It was so ridiculous when I think about it now. And I saw a tweet saying that the Luke Skywalker moment was so amazing and it was completely undone in 5 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett because it lost all its emotional weight to it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about that, saying that if the series had been just two series and done, and that was the end of the story, it was the perfect ending because you could just end it on that, and it was all up in the air. And like you said, they've undone it. But I mean, people will be chomping at the bit for Mando season 3, but whether it's compared, because. Kenobi came before, and then you're kind of looking back at Kenobi in hindsight, as opposed to your Mando season 3 will drop, and we'll be looking at Andor in hindsight, and whether it is this sort of thing going, oh well, I actually really did miss the silliness or the little silly moments or the more traditional what Star Wars has done, and Mandalorian has been very good at that, of giving you kind of what you want to see and eating up the tropes and giving you the designs and the creatures and the action and all that stuff. And whether you watch it, you go oh, actually, that's what I want. I want Andor to be Andor. and I want my Mando to be Mando. I want my favs, my Falones, and all that stuff the way that it is. I don't know. What do you reckon, Dale?
Yeah, I agree with you. The book of Boba Fett really is. Well, that was Rodriguez had a heavy hand in that, and he's never done anything really of
Anything good since
high
Desperado?
artistic merit. Let's just say it. And I felt like he was very much playing with his Star Wars action figures with a camera, but with lots of a much bigger budget. But it serves its purpose. It's very kid friendly, and it was a bit of a laugh and some good fun when it was out, but there is no weight to it like Andor, and Andor to me is Empire Strikes Back level. That's just fact.
Yeah,
it is powerful and has these adult themes, and there's so much going on in it. Yeah,
but
I think like even with season 2, what do you like? You can see where it's going with certain threads, but you don't even need to introduce new characters. Like everything's set up there just to finish off. It's so clever.
Yeah, but the reality is though, Star Wars cannot survive if it's all like Andor. It can't survive on Andor alone. It will kill it, which is an awful thing to say. But because Star Wars needs kids, it needs young fans, it needs new people, it needs adventures, it needs whooshes, it needs bangers, it needs explosions. Andor can thrive because it can stand and do its thing and have that adult, that tone and stuff, because they know that they can do other stuff that keeps the franchise open to the younger fans. And Star Wars was originally made for 10-year-old boys or 12-year-old, whatever it is, boys and girls. I'm not going to pigeonhole to just boys, but if that was all it was, if Andor was just a show, if it was just like The Americans or whatever, it would be a much smaller fan base. It would be, you wouldn't.
Don't you think that like new Bobby, who's the old Bobby at Disney, has a history of champion? Yeah, who has a bit of a history of championing talent and actually wanting to, not necessarily chasing that critical acclaim, but appreciating talent and
absolutely.
The level.
And
but again, you wouldn't be
able to do that without the luxury of going, well, I know that we can do this thing that's different and darker because I know we've got Mando season 3 coming, and we're going to have Ahsoka, and we've got Bad Batch, and hopefully we'll have some movies someday because we've got to move the beast, keep the beast fed, and we can do these things. Like Acolytes is an interesting one too, whether that is a little bit more serious and dark, and we don't really know what's going on with that one.
But Star Wars has always been this way. It's always had those different versions of itself. Now, that existed in the early days in the expanded universe, and you would have everything from the young adult books that were a bit campier to the comics, which were way out there, and then the novels, which tried to stick to some sort of semblance of a traditional Star Wars film in book form.
But now because there's so much of it, even live action, because it's spread out, it doesn't have to live and die on its live action. So whether it's like whether the prequels don't land for people and all of a sudden Star Wars prequels become the butt of a joke for 15 years because that's the only Star Wars that most people know about, or even like something like Rise of Skywalker, which didn't really work for me and didn't work for a lot of people, not everybody, but at the same time doesn't really matter because Mandalorian came out and there was other stuff and everybody moved on quite quickly. It wasn't sort of like, oh, now we've got 15 years of no Star Wars and that was the last thing that we got and that's all we can talk about. So you can kind of go, all right, well, we can do this thing that Andor, which is dark and gritty and at the same time we can kind of do these other things and come back to it. But I don't know. Well, let's talk speculate and cockadoodie speculate. And Dale, as you just put it in, Matt, what's Andor season 2 going to be about in 20 seconds?
I think we're going to see...
Somehow you got made head writer of Andor season 2.
Bobby
I and Kathy K have come and said, all right, Matt, what are we doing
starting off with a great decision, Bobby, right?
Well, like the guy from the 3-Minute Baby Yoda podcast is running Andor now. Awesome. Tony Gilroy.
I think we're going to see really the formation of the rebellion big time, like the rebel cells coming together. I hope we sort of see not really actually, the aftermath of Ferrex. Like, I have a really dark feeling that planet's getting obliterated as a sort of response. And yeah, I think that's where we'll start, and it's going to harness Cassian even more into revenge and into the rebellion, in honor of what happened on Ferrix afterwards, because this is the first rebellion, big one, or since not Aldani, but the people uprising, the first recorded one we've seen. So I fear for Ferrix.
Not bad, Matt. We'll let you keep your job. You may not be head writer anymore, but we'll
3-year contract.
3-year contract, 5 more seasons. What about you, Dale? You've just been We've
I
just
think-
fired Matt
I think
Mohl.
we're gonna
We've
see-
decided you to be head writer of Andor season 2.
Hey, I think we're going to see K2SO. I think that's just in some form. That's a given. And I think we need to. Whether we get that as a little throw-in or whether it's a complete episode and early on and he becomes part of the new team, I would like to see things go all the way up to Yavin Base totally ready to go. That would be sweet. Some more on the Death Star because they didn't put it in for nothing. I'd love to see some political intrigue and infighting there of how this thing is run and built. And then just more of the characters I've grown to love. Like, there are so many rich, interesting characters that we still, have a lot. Second season, we'll have a lot to play with their arcs, which will be great. And Val, my boy Cyril, we've got plenty to come.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. Catherine, we saw your reviews on the internet here at Lucasfilm, and we feel like that you've got some good ideas that we could use in season 2 at Andor. What do you got for us?
First off, we're now going to make 5 seasons. We're going back to the original plan, 5 seasons.
Oh, right. Well, this picture's still only as long as it was, so,
Yep, K2SO, we have to meet him. I would like to see, even though this is sounding, a bit sort of relying on the cameos,
Here comes Krennic.
Bail Organa makes sense. It makes complete sense that we would see Bail Organa at some stage. Even if he's only interacting with Mon Mothma, it would make sense that we see him. Yes, I'd love to see Krennic. I'm not denying, and now we've got ISB. No.
No, Matt.
No.
Matt's throwing a sugar picture of Thrawn.
No.
Give it up, dude.
No.
You'll get it in the Ahsoka show.
Not on
Even
my
that's
watch.
Too much.
Bobby I and me, best friends. Not happening. Yeah, so Melchi back. I love to see more of Melchi and Cassian working together. I'd love to see Blue Leader, what's his name? But the actor's
mustache.
Ben Daniels, but he's been casting season 2 of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
Ooh.
So I'm
He just puts a fake
very
mo
concerned.
on. They're shooting in the UK anyway. He can just, put a fake
Yep.
mo on, wander across the lot to the other studio and do his thing. These are all pretty
Nothing
good.
fake about his mo. He has to keep the mo. That was a fantastic mo. He's so dashing. He's the definition of dashing.
I thought Diego was the definition of
You
dashing.
blew up. You got blown up.
No,
there pretty
Diego
badly.
is handsome and charming. Blue Leader, dashing.
All right, this
And that's a
pitch
sweet costume.
This pitch is taking a weird turn here. You've creeped Kathy and Bobby I out here a little bit. Those this is a
Look,
risk
we
bringing you into
saw what-
Lucasfilm like this.
We know where they go for like pizza and coffee, so
That's true.
you
You have been there. I think the intriguing thing obviously is the time jumps. Is the year doing 4 years in. Well, we know that they do these 3-episode arcs now, so you can kind of go, all right. Well, they're going to do 4 3-episode arcs, and you'll do the 4 episode arcs. Is that 12? Sorry, excuse my math.
Yeah.
And there'll be a year. So are they self-contained adventures? Is there a through line plot that is bubbling in the background that these, years, whether it's something to do with his sister or something else that's kind of a constant that's running through, or you're going, everything's tied up in a bow in these 3 episodes or 4 episodes, then you go to the next 3, then you go to the next 3. I feel like that there'll be some sort of constant thing going on in the background, or something that's being addressed that's pulling us into this time period as it gets closer and closer to it. Like you said, rebel base, Yavin, the rebellion sort of coming together. I just wonder,
the lost years on Dantooine.
Well, yeah, I don't know whether they went to Dantooine before they went to Yavin, or was this just another place that they had? Did they actually?
That was their first rebel base. They said, we found remnants of an old rebel base, but it appears to have been deserted for quite some time.
And
that
they
doesn't
were
necessarily mean they were all there.
On Rebels.
Some of them might have been there.
On Rebels.
And Crate as well.
Oh, yeah, Crate was an old rebel base too. I mean, stuff like the Rebels, like is that too distracting? Like, can you put the Rebels crew in Andor and it not seem ridiculous?
No, that would, I think, take away from that sense of reality that Gilroy has brought. Now, we've got to remember the Gilroy of it all. Now, he's deep dived on things, but if there's going to be sort of references, Gilroy will understand, like, bringing in characters from Rogue One. This is why I've been like, if the person was in Rogue One, I wouldn't ever discount them popping up in Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, I don't know. It might depend on. I agree. I'm getting there. Wolf Yularen, blah blah blah.
No.
That would be, I think, coming from Story Group, where they're saying, "Oh, we need the person who's the head of the ISB," and Wolf Yularen going, "Oh, that's Pablo going, yeah, that's this guy." Wolf Yularen. I can't say his name. That
Wolf Yularen. But Catherine, Chopper is in Rogue One. Hera Syndulla referenced in Rogue One. And I'm not sure you saw this, but as Bix, Brasso, Paxson escaped Ferrix, a VCX 100 was parked in the junkyard. The ghost ship.
It would be, I mean, it's that classic, as we talked about Steel Silver.
I'm not saying
if they get it right, but it feels like, I don't know. Dale, what do you reckon? Would you reckon the Rebels?
There's too much going on for them to bother with Rebels, and I think we're going to see those characters in Ahsoka. So,
well, it was weird. Like, I listened back to,
especially now that they're compacting 5 years or 4 years into one season. I think that then becomes too hard to put in those links.
I think the only interlinking that's possible, I mean, I don't want to see the Ghost Crew have a whole episode about himself, but there is that one episode of Rebels where the Ghost Crew assist Mon Mothma. There's all the Y-Wings. There's Gold 2 and everyone, and Hobby and Dutch, and then the Mon Mothma speech. That's the most Rebels live actionable moment. Because, I mean, like you said, Catherine, they've referenced the Gormans already, and that was the big part of Mon Mothma's sort of political directive in this season. And that speech, I mean, God, they've done a lot of good speeches in this season.
Would they recreate
Mon Mothma's speech then was pretty big in Rebels. Like,
that was Genevieve O'Reilly doing the voice for that too, wasn't it? I believe
it was.
Well, I'd listened back.
What episode was that, Matt?
Beg pardon?
What episode was that?
I think it was season 3, episode 14. Don't quote me. Around that. Maybe 16, yeah.
I think of like just the one where that happened. Well, I'd listened back to, because we'd referenced a few times, that Bobby Iger, this is our Bobby Iger's favorite podcast, because I'd sort of said, well, no, Cassian Andor show would be a really good idea when we did the Rogue One commentary ages ago. And I went back and I listened to all of that to try and find what I actually said. And it was in reference to, originally we were just talking about going, isn't it weird that they didn't put Cassian Andor in Rebels? Like, why didn't they cross over and have him show up because he's part of the Rebel Alliance? It seems like a no-brainer. That was kind of where it started. And then I just was like, oh, well, it'd be good to know about the story of Cassian Andor. It'd be interesting. We'll have to find the clip. Maybe I'll put it in somewhere. But it's clear he doesn't turn up in Rebels. There is no crossover. So you'd have to, and that was in 3 or 4 seasons of Rebels or whatever it was. So whether you would double back around to shove the Ghost Q into Andor when they've only got another 12 episodes to go.
Well, he was going to be in Rebels. There was talk that there was going to be a Rogue One Rebels crossover, but it would have been had there been a season 5 of Rebels, because it's season 3, episode 18 is the Mon Mothma speech in 2 BBY, and so that one BBY is the Rogue One sort of momentary thing, and Rebels sort of ends just before that. So if they had more time, they definitely wanted to do it.
I don't feel like I've had enough of Mon Mothma anyway. Like, I feel like I need a bit more of that story and what's next for
they
her.
left that in a good place, I think, at the end of this, where it was like the walls are closing in, but she hasn't been busted. She's kind of bought herself some time, which is sort of good, because I think that her story will pick up, and it'll jump in years anyway. But I think at least when we come back to it at the start of season 2, she'll still be in the Senate. She'll still be at home with the husband. Maybe the daughter's been married off by then. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know how that works. Do you have to leave, or does the kid move in? Or I don't know all of that. Whether she did it or not, whether she saw it through, or maybe that's the impetus that she knows she's going to get busted. She's like, all right, nah, I'm calling this whole thing off. But and stuff like Saw Gerrera, like I think we saw the sort of the splintering of Vel and Cinta, that Cinta was getting more hardcore. And Val, is all about the cause still, but it feels like Cinta might find Saw Gerrera quite a interesting person to hang out with.
And we saw the start of Saw Gerrera's paranoia.
It's interesting, because I was talking with Frosty, and we were saying how this show, everything comes around. Like, Cassian does this, it leads to a 6-year jail term. Everything just comes around, and this whole show is that's what it's about. And even Mon Mothma and Saw, like Mon Mothma is very naive in the beginning, thinking, let's start a rebellion, it'll be very political and lots of chats and everything. And by the end, she's sacrificing her daughter for the cause. And so she's become more like Saw, and then Saw's become more like her a bit to the extent. So there's just so many amazing dialogues and meanings and everything in this show.
Hey, Catherine, can you tell me, do you know anything about publishing for surrounding Andor, such as like the visual dictionaries that they used to do and the art of books?
I haven't heard anything. No one sent me anything. That's usually how I find out. I get, heaps of tags. I would hope so. I mean, this show is beautiful. I would hope they'd do like an art of Andor. They did an art of Mandalorian, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So it would make sense. I think they absolutely need to do it, but no one's hit me up I haven't seen anything. Who knows? I hope so.
It'd be great to have something to get a closer look at some of the costumes and sets, and just find names for wacky things and that aren't spoken of on film.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how far they lead into Andor at Celebration in London. Like whether they do they'll still be probably filming something when we're there. So it's probably, like they did the Mandalorian thing where they took the sets and they were like, here's some sets from Mandalorian, you can go have a look. I didn't get a chance to see it. I didn't just sneak in like some people on this call, but to
steal from the Empire, you just walk in like you belong, okay? That's the motto I live by.
To drop the queue at Celebration, you just got to look like that you belong. There is an opportunity for some real Andor goodies, I think, for London Celebration, notwithstanding the fact that the production is UK based and it's going to be in the UK, and whether they're filming at that very moment or at least there will be cast and people around. And
filming starts in March 2023.
No,
that's already
filming started.
It's happening right now.
Filming started. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Filming starting March 2023 for like House of the Dragon. I think even Lord of the Rings. I think, or is that starting? Well. But no, Andor has started.
Oh wow!
And the schedule for release is 24, is it?
There's no date said, but you kind of try to go, well, if it'll take them this long to film and then post-production because obviously that will take a long time.
And more episodes.
More episodes. So,
Is it more episodes?
well, no, 12 episodes as opposed to like your 6 from Mandalorian and so forth.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So yeah, it's guesstimating 2024.
Yeah,
But we don't know. We don't
started
know.
in November and finishing in August 2023.
Right. So we'll
Funnily enough, I checked on Etsy. I cannot get a funerary brick. I can't get a Narkina 5 outfit made up, but I just had a little look just to see if there's anything. All you can get is sort of Josh's t-shirt style stuff like F the Empire and B2M, stuff.
Yeah, there was somebody who did a very similar looking t-shirt design to one of mine, but I think there was a couple of people that had that done to them as well. So it's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But anyway, that doesn't matter.
We have Comic-Con on Saturday and Sunday, so this coming weekend. So let's see if anyone gets creative, and because it's usually the costume makers themselves that are ahead of the curve. And hopefully there's a couple of people showing their Andor love.
Yeah, well, I always love good Comic-Con dress up, and I'm hoping that that Celebration's got a whole bunch of them. Like, make it the Andor celebration. I don't know what else. What else will be out by then? I guess Mando will be out by then, and that'll be it, won't it? I don't think Ahsoka will be out by then. We'll have to see. No. Well, it's March.
No, but
Mandalorian will still be running over Celebration.
March 1.
Yeah,
March,
so 2, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
The finale or the second last episode might be out while Celebration is on, actually. I'll have to check my dates. Goodness me. All right. Let's just do a run through. We've touched on some characters. We haven't touched on other characters. What are we seeing? What's going to happen? And let's hit it up. Let's hit with the Big Daddy Luthen. What's going to be? Is he going to make it through the season? He's obviously not in. There's a lot of characters that aren't in Rogue One, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not just in the background doing other stuff. Is Luthen realistically going to make it out of season 2? Did you think he was going to make it out of season 1? I actually thought he might not make it out of season 1.
No, I'm happy he made. I love that as he watched the funeral, you could literally see his mind shift and going, not only I'm seeing this rebellion forming between my eyes, everything that I've sort of pictured and been planning from day one, but also I'm not going to kill Cassian anymore. He's the son of this woman. He's got everything he needs to be a perfect rebel.
And I can't just instantly just dispose of people willy-nilly as I see fit as well. Like, I can't.
I think Luthen will fall on the sword.
There's going to be some sort of sacrifice. I hope it's not. I hope when there's this whole he's a secret Jedi and
that's like rubbish.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Well, we haven't touched on that. Do you want the Force in season 2? Would that keep that Force nonsense away? It's all just simple tricks and magic, or simpletons and nonsense.
If it's relevant, yes, but don't go. Luthen's Force sensitive. Like, fuck that. He carried a stick that looked like a lightsaber, and it was a lightsaber. That's why he had some kyber. No, he just had some kyber. Leave it at that.
Stay away from YouTube, Matt.
Mike Zero lives next door. I hear him recording his stuff
all day. Yeah, 4 videos a day.
Star Wars Theory lives across the road. He's just throwing bricks at everyone.
What about you, Catherine? Do you think Luthen's going to make it out of season 2, or?
No, I think you're right. The sacrifice for the greater good. He'll give it up in one go for others to survive. You sort of think he'll do that.
It might be interesting.
Guarantee you, he's going to die around 6 to 7 a.m. in front of some sort of sunrise. Like, he's going to die at sunrise for sure.
I actually think it might be more interesting if he kind of gets ousted. Like, Mon Mothma actually wrestles control of the Empire the rebellion off him. That basically she's just like, well, who are you? You're, people rally around me. I'm Mon Mothma, the senator. You're the freaking art dealer. You've done enough. You've taken this as far as you can go. And it might be this whole thing of like, hey, this is mine. I started this. and he kind of gets shunned to the side or, ousted.
Hung for war crimes.
Well, not necessarily even hung or killed, of just sort of like, in order for this thing to thrive, you've got to, we can't operate under your methods anymore. We're going to do it. There needs to be more of a concerted effort. You're just kind of doing these, you're not seeing the bigger picture here. You're good at sort of starting a rabble and doing some things, but that would actually be quite an interesting take, where it's like, well, you expect him to go down a blaze of glory, but he actually just sort of like says F y'all and leaves, and, to be picked up at another time.
Or Saw Gerrera takes care of him.
Yeah, that Saw Gerrera, he's like, I had to sacrifice you in order to do this, and gives him a.
Do you
want
to kill me?
Yeah, it's just like, I had to get you before you got me. That something like that would be quite interesting. He becomes too reckless. He becomes surplus to requirements. He sort of he feels like Mon Mothma is taking his crown, and he gets more desperate.
So Cassian is ordered to kill him.
I know who does it.
Ooh.
Tubes kills him. Tubes definitely kills him.
Out. I don't think it'll be as simple of like, oh my god, someone's got to stay behind here and flick the explosion switch, or something like that. Like, I think it will be more like a thing like that. Like he gets ousted or betrayed, or they realize he's gone off the deep end, or he's doing something. I think that would be.
Yeah.
Ooh,
but
maybe
you think like Cassian having to kill him, like being ordered to kill him because he is that loose thread or a liability, that he has to do it for the good of the rebellion, and that would stain his ledger,
Well, it's a full circle, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be something that
like
would weigh on him going into Rogue One, of this is one of the dark things that he's done.
Yeah, Luther's just like, hey man, I didn't do it to you. Like I didn't pull the trigger, and this is how you repay me. And
this shit's getting
damn,
Shakespearean.
Gilroy. Get us in that writer's room. Actually, you know what? We were joking. Get us in there. We're geniuses.
Mulroy.
Get us if you're listening. I mean, it's already been written, but whatever.
Rights.
we'll
and Tivik. Let's meet Tivik.
Who's Tivik?
Is he the
ISB betrayer? Is he the Mohl?
He's the guy in Rogue One who couldn't climb because of his arm.
Oh, right. Yep. I just think he's in Line of Duty, the guy who plays him. He was like the...
He is.
Yeah, you see that he kind of cops it early in one of the series, yeah.
Cops it early in Rogue One too.
Yeah, that's his bad.
He's got a face for it.
He's got the face for it, yeah. What about Jyn Erso? No?
It's a separate story.
Too distracting?
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
She doesn't buy into the cause until halfway through the movie.
Yeah, and she's
otherwise she wouldn't go, what is this? Like, she's like, oh, I know you guys. You're the rebellion.
Yeah.
No, Jyn.
She's already left Saw, so I don't think even parallel stories would be interesting. Again, if they had the full 5 seasons, this was when I was pitching like lots of parallel storylines, story threads that then would meet in Rogue One. The fact that they've cut it down to just the 2 seasons means, okay, all of those other interesting things, I don't know if they could do it.
Yep.
What did you just show me?
Sleeping baby, don't worry.
Okay.
It's just the thumbs up. The baby's asleep. It means it's had its bath and it's everything's all right.
The podcasting can continue undisturbed.
What about Deidre and Cyril?
Well, I mean, the intriguing thing with that is that Deidre's in Cyril's debt. I think that...
Oh, God, I wish I was.
Imagine, because Tony Gilroy has confirmed that this is going to start 1 year on from the events of Ferrex. Imagine opening scene. It's Cyril and Deidre and a little baby.
Oh.
No.
She didn't look like she was into it. Other people are like going, oh, look, she's falling in love with him. Like, I don't think so. I think she's more like, I'm traumatized because I nearly got lynched by a mob that want to kill me.
Why did he say it like Batman? You'll never have to. It was so odd.
But
some people are into that, though, Josh.
Well, I guess
Starts with hate.
Different strokes for different blokes, I suppose. But yeah, it's definitely like he's definitely going to further his cause, whether that's Deidre or whether it's his ambitions, in the ISB.
He'll be in the ISB for sure now.
He'll be in the ISB, yep.
But Yeah, she's very fascinating. She's a fascinating character. It'll be interesting to see because it's like Cyril got demoted off the back of the schmozzle that he caused. Like, there's no reason to think that maybe some of those ISB agents will be demoted because they couldn't handle a riot and the people turned on them and people got stomped and a bunch of people got killed and stuff like that. So they might both be, maybe they're both living at Cyril's mum's house.
Oh, that now you're talking.
They're both having cereal.
They're both sitting. That's the same shot. This, Cyril's there with his mum having the cereal, and she's just like, "Move over," and she just paused.
Wasn't that an episode of The Nanny?
And then the mum's like to Deidre, "Do you have any prospects? You don't have any. I'll call Uncle Harlow."
Yeah, it's like, goddamn Uncle Harlow again.
And Uncle Harlow would be played by Jerry Seinfeld's dad.
Oh,
that's how they get you.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're both fascinating, those two, to see what, picking up a year to see whether there'd been the ramifications of being demotion or promotion, or the Empire's a bit of a funny one, really, or whether they've just gone harder, like whether the next year that they've just gone even harder trying to crack down on insurrection and they've been kind of leading the charge. I'm not too sure. I don't know. What do you reckon, Catherine? Do you want to see Deirdre and Cyril as a team here, or do you want Cyril back in his box?
Oh, it just ended up being so creepy between them. Like, he just, it was just such bad vibes between them that you don't want that to be encouraged out there in the real world.
Catherine, you've got to look to you like this is some bad date you went on.
Yeah.
Well, look, this is my fear of, getting on those dating apps. So
you just get a Cyril. All of a sudden,
it's nothing but Cyrils out there.
But Cyril's, all of a sudden, you get yourself pulled out of a riot, and you're eating cereal at his mum's place.
Yeah.
I mean, the ISB, like you said, is an interesting one in general, just because they've taken a few hits. They're going to have a lot more work to do. The rebellion's going to get stronger here. It'll be quite interesting to see what they do, and obviously, somewhat like the Death Star and Mendo and all that kind of stuff kind of looms over this, and then Tarkin as well. There were very, very strong rumors that Tarkin was going to turn up in Andor, and didn't. I don't think he was missed.
He was missed. Lindo misses him.
Well, I think it depends on how good the CG is, I guess.
True.
Yeah.
But they may have misinterpreted Tarkin as for Deidre's sort of assistant, Hirst, because he's got very much that. Lindo reckons he could play Tarkin perfectly. Like, he's got that face.
He's got the bone structure. I'd love for them to get Guy Henry back. I thought even before they CG'd him, he
was
really
good
had
enough.
the mannerisms down. And I think us fans, we know the behind the scenes. We know Guy Henry would play Tarkin, so we'd be accepting. But I don't think other people who, let's face it, we all know people who, when watching Rogue One, didn't know Peter Cushing wasn't alive.
Yep.
And playing that role.
My daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to have some context to see the seams, obviously to sort of, get the the thing of it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just that
Krennic. Have Krennic.
But he
Come
could
on,
work.
Mendo.
He could absolutely. That character could completely work in this Andor tone stuff quite easily. And whether it does actually, because Rogue One does have a grittier tone, but it still does have a very Star Warsy feel in places, especially probably the final act as well. Whether it does lean closer to that, but yeah, I don't know.
I just think it'd be a waste to get Krennic back if it wasn't for something meaty.
Yeah.
I don't want him back for a wink to the camera. I want a proper, at least a full episode.
Or whether they even touch on the Death Star again. I mean, I know they kind of ended on the Death Star to tie in with the stuff that was being built in the prison, or whether it is actually alluded to, or whether it turns out that there's a few close calls and that's someone nearly finds out about it early, or someone does find out about it, some character, and they and they don't get the word out.
Well, my reading of Cassian's first scene in Rogue One when he meets Tivik, and Tivik is confirming that about a pilot defecting and talking about a super weapon, a planet killer. The way Cassian reacts is like, he's heard about some kind of secret weapon.
Yeah,
that
that's kind of
has been
confirming
worked on.
Yeah,
so that could be the thread, some kind of underlying thread that they keep getting these rumors of something being worked on. They don't know. They don't know it's a Death Star. So, never say the words Death Star to a member of the rebellion or, any of that. But they do hear rumors about a weapon being worked on. And so that could be interesting. So Krennic could be seen as part of the ISB of beefing up security. We need security tighter. So what can he do? So he might be seen talking, with what's his name, Major Pendergast.
Partagaz.
That's his name, isn't it?
Partagaz.
those names. You're just the name expert. I just
Don't quiz me.
I want to quiz
on names.
The 7-man crew on Narkina 5. Catherine, go.
Oh, don't do this. Ham.
Leave her alone, you
dude, I've been trying to learn names all week.
She's got enough on her plate.
Beef, Ham, Melshi, Zol.
This is your party trick.
You're like you're just making up. You're just saying words.
And Jembok. Yes! Jembok. I always forget that one.
Jembok. Oh, Jembok you. Well, let's round up. We've always clocked the hour here. Not that we have to strictly stick to time or anything like that, but
baby's asleep. We're going all night.
We could. I can go back and watch the last of the cricket. I don't know about you, but rounding back around on this. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say it exceeded everybody's expectations. I think with the pedigree that was involved, we always expected it to be good and didn't really expect anything else. But it certainly didn't have the 6 episodes in drop off or lull or fillers or anything like that. It kind of just got better and better and better as it went on. So now we just sort of sit back and wait.
Yeah, and even if there were episodes where you felt, maybe there was no big climatic event. It was like, well, that's okay. We know it's building to something. I think we all grasped that idea that everything built to something. Nothing was there for no reason.
Yeah.
So I think people were far more willing to go along for that ride.
And the sort of the three sort of episode structure, aside from the finale, which was good. I think actually the finale being 2 was better because it just built. You were ready for it to sort of pop off.
End.
If they'd kind of done a middle one where it was like the pieces were moving again, you'd be like, well, we probably don't really need this. We're ready to kick this baby off.
That tension in the final episode, Lord.
I agree with you, Josh, there, because it was good that the finale was only 2, and they took that that breather episode between post, the heist and then pre the prison break. That episode was so heavy as well. Like, I actually thought it was one of the best ones when I was on the rewatch. Like, that's the one where you can't stay and I can't go, and that's so emotional. Like, it's such a good bridging episode and a calm before the storm because.
But it actually sets up a lot in the last episodes as well. So it has Bix gets captured. All the stuff with Cassian's mother and all the sort of other pieces all fall into place that pay off in the finale as well. Yeah, so it sort of pays off. It sets up the next immediate arc, and then it sets up the finale as well. So it's very intricate things as we expect. As we expect from this. All right, let's round this sucker home. I mean, what a series, Dale. Any
is Andor is good?
Is Andor is good? Are you happy just to sit back and wait now? I mean, we're in a very privileged time now where we get 2 or 3 Star Wars series a year now. We're sort of spoilt for content that doesn't even include animation and stuff. So the wait isn't going to be as painful as waiting for movies for some of us. Maybe not all of us.
No, and there's so much rewatch value in this show. So hey, keep yourself entertained by going deeper into the story. Watch it again.
I think I'm going to do a subtitles watch, which I haven't done yet. I think that'll probably be my next thing. Matt, what about you, mate? Any closing thoughts that you want to?
I'd like
give
to
on
pose a
Andor?
question to the group. Yes.
Permission.
The three speeches: Kino, Marva, Luthen. Give us a 3, 2, 1. Josh, I'll start with you, mate.
Marva 3. No,
Really?
Luthen 3. Marva 2. Kino 1. I mean, they're all pretty good, but I think from where Kino's character came from was the most satisfying as well, though. The other two were already believers, and I think the fact that Kino had to, turn it around and learn and learn the lesson and then inspire. I think that was, and come on, Andy Serkis, man, like that's his Star Wars character now. Like, it's secondary to Snoke. Like, all the stuff about Snoke being this sort of funny pop culture oddity, and Andy Serkis was always associated in some way. But this is his Star Wars character. This will be the Star Wars he gets remembered for. We haven't really touched on him. I hope he comes back somehow. I hope he just sort of turns up somewhere. But on the other hand, it's sort of like, I don't know whether he needs to. Yeah, whether it's just a good thing in itself. But that's my 3, 2, 1. What about, take it out onto the floor, Dale?
Marva first. Come on, fuck the Empire. And then I would say Luthen. That was pretty awesome. And Kino last.
Oh, well, we're gonna have to go outside and fight now, Dale. But there it is.
Yeah, I'm not so sold on Kino. Yeah.
There you go, Catherine.
There were 3 solid, just amazing monologues delivered by amazing actors. All 3 should be nominated for those Critics' Choice Awards. That's their moment. If this was the Brownlows, I think I'd be awarding my 3 points to Luthen because, it's so powerful. Describing his sacrifices, but that foreshadowing and just the beautiful imagery of his words, like I'm sacrificing it all for sunrises I'll never see. And of course,
sharing my dreams with ghosts.
Yep. And all of that, linked into, you think, Cassian Andor's final moments with that sunset, good Lord, they kill me with a sunset.
Spoiler
Star Wars
alert.
without the sunset. What about you, Matt?
Yeah.
You've got the deciding vote here, actually. We've all gone different ones.
Well, no,
know.
I've gone the 3 point. I think I'm probably going to be similar to you. Two for Marva because it was awesome, but and then because she fired up Brasso to hit stormtroopers with her brick and then headbutt stormtroopers, and time grappler to then kick a stormtrooper off the tower. Her words did that, and they were amazing. And one to Kino, again, it was an amazing speech. It was amazing, but you're right also in that it's the arc that makes it amazing as well.
I was saying, I wasn't sure if you're giving. You said Brownlow, so I assumed 3 votes to Marva was the top. Was Marva top?
3. As I said, 3 to.
Okay, so 3
Luthen.
votes for 3 votes for Luthen, 2 votes. Yeah.
2 to Marva, 1 to
Kino. Okay.
Kino.
And I remind everyone that the rebellion is built by strong female characters, and Marva is one of them, to add to that long list.
I agree with you, Dale. And Josh, you've actually made this comment as well. Like, is Andor about Cassian Andor, or is it about and like her speech? I swear to God, I'm not kidding. I have watched that speech and listen to it, I think, twice a day for the past week, because I just find it so powerful. That funeral was just intense. Like the music.
More than the misogyny speech? Oh, sorry, that's something else, isn't it?
Stone and Sky. I've never liked Fiona Shaw, and because of the whole her character in Harry Potter. Like, I didn't like how she treated the kid, and and I could never let that go for some reason. But I love her so much now, and that speech just sparked the rebellion. I think she would have loved the fact that she threw the first punch in the fight.
I would have loved that if the speech had just, because she sets everybody off, and then, B2 Emo gets kicked over and it all sort of goes off. I would have loved if the speech had just started, like, she just started airing other grievances. She's just like, well, and also the Sisters of Ferrix, like, Lucy, your scones are lumpy. I've never been able to tell you to your face. And she's just got this laundry list of grievances. She started with the Empire, but it just goes on, and she's just, she's 10 minutes in.
Like your farewell party at work.
Yeah. She's just like burning all the bridges. Now she's dead. And like, geez, it started off quite inspiring. And geez, lucky a riot kicked off, because it would have got really awkward. Everyone's just standing there going, God, am I next in this thing, or is she ever going to shut up?
It's got to be about Festivus, surely. So, airing of grievances. Look, and I know we only got the 3, 2, 1, but can I give honorary mention to Brasso delivering Marva's words? Because that was,
I cried.
Oh, Brasso, mate.
Season 2, Brasso. Season 2.
It's funny. I've been talking to Frosty, and I said to him, if Marva had delivered the halftime speech in 2021, the Dogs would have won the flag. And he replied, if Bontempelli had smashed Petrarca in the head with the brick, things would certainly have turned out differently. That's the kind of level of our texting at the moment. It's
right. This
good
little
banter.
Secret chat you guys have got going on over there. All right, Matt, you've derailed us, of course, with the quiz, as is your way. Catherine, it would be remiss of me to not finish this Roundtable Series 1 wrap up with you. You've been the constant through the whole thing. You're the reason people listen. You've done the press rounds. You're forever associated with this show.
13 out of 13. What an effort.
It's who knows? So somebody will get you on that set in April, maybe get a little tap on the shoulder and say, Catherine, we're going to drive you down to the set, and you can steal Saunders it. You can be the Ajax citizen in the thing, and you can't tell anyone. That'll be the problem. What would happen is that they'll get you on an Andor set, and you wouldn't be able to keep it to yourself, and then they'd have to cut you out of the episode.
No.
Could you keep that to yourself if you mysteriously disappeared for a day at Celebration? Like, where have you been? You're like, looking at trains.
Yes.
How do we make this happen?
Catherine, are you allowed within 50 feet of Diego Luna?
I've been within 50 feet of Diego Luna.
Yeah, she was like right at the front of the celebration stage. I don't know. If anybody's listening and can make that happen, get Catherine on an Andor set. She will be in the UK for a little while.
And I will keep it quiet. I am there, for a little while after Celebration. So let's not tracked.
Let's get you to wrap this sucker up, if you can.
Oh. No, I can't, because I don't want it to end. It breaks my heart that it's ending. I hope we get a behind the scenes gallery or whatever they're going to call it soon. It was just utterly amazing. I love it. I adore it. I Andor it. I want more. Like, you saw me at Celebration being a bit sad when they announced, we were going to do 5 seasons. We're only going to do 2. I'm even more gutted now because of the quality of what we've gotten and the storytelling. This is storytelling right up my alley of complex, interweaving but separate storylines. This is the good stuff. And this is why we do it. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure having you all come on at separate times and together and come in and do the reviews. It's been really fun and gotten a good little groove. And I don't think we'll do the same for Mando season 3, but who knows? Anything could happen. But
Bad Batch, come on.
You're all welcome on the podcast anytime. You're all frequent guests anyway. We'll probably, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got 1 or 2 people who are sort of keen to come on just the regular old show, but we'll see how that goes. I'm nearly on holidays for a few weeks, so I probably should do something. Right. Dale, where can people find you, mate?
They can find me at Comic-Con at the Rebel Legion stall on Saturday this weekend. And
Are you in the Jedi
come and say
outfit,
hello.
or are you in something else?
I'm going to be in a Jedi outfit on Saturday.
Have you got like a Jedi name?
No.
Like
Yeah,
Dale?
Jacosta Day.
Jacosta, get fucked. Why am I the old lady? Come on. The grumpy old lady.
Yeah.
You've got the library.
I do have my library.
Matt, what about you, mate? People can find you at the podcast, obviously.
Find me at 3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast, Fiona Shaw. Please return my emails. We'd love to get you on. And you might find me in Melbourne on March 19, and we might have to go to a football game together.
Ooh, that's exciting. Who's
Essendon
playing that
versus
with?
Hawthorn.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll organise some members' tickets. This is probably a conversation we should have off air, but I can do that.
I'll bring a collar.
Yeah, bring a collar. You don't need a tie, but bring a collar.
And a drink afterwards.
Yes, we'll do that. Absolutely. Catherine, where can people find you as opposed to all the other podcasts that you're on, but you're around?
Well, yeah, I'm around. First off, I want to thank you, Josh, for having me on each week. Give me someone to talk about it with. It's been fabulous, and for allowing me to just squeal off my head when I saw Diego at Celebration. Thank you so much again. Yes.
Maybe in a paid meet and greet or a photo opportunity.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that
I'm going to
later.
need support so I don't run away. But
Matt,
I want to do it. I want
is the king of the group photo.
I want to meet Diego. I want to meet all the people. It means so much to me.
We'll just have to ease you in. I think you'll have to meet Imperial Officer number 4 or something and work your way up to Diego rather than go straight into the...
We'll start with Keysax and then Tigo and then maybe work our way into...
Yeah.
And Catherine, we've enjoyed watching it through your eyes as well, and your infectious love for it has been just a joy. So all your great work on all the different pods has been awesome.
It's been so amazing to see that. I know there were some people going, I don't think this will be my cup of tea, or going in with I'll watch it, Star Wars, and, I'm excited because Catherine's excited. And to see people sort of going, oh, this is really good. It's been so, you can't ask for anything better than to have something you love be beloved. So yeah, I'm still on Twitter at Catherine_Kneen. That Geek Pod is on Twitter. Now that work should finally be slowing down, just in time for Christmas. Hopefully I'll get to record a bit more, especially during January. Got a lot to talk about. So yeah, you can catch me on those things. I'm counting down to season 2 of Andor, and I thought yesterday, should I count down to the Christmas special for Call the Midwife? I actually know when that one is. So
get all those Call the Midwife fans on there. Get all those Call the Midwife podcasts.
Look, Call the Midwife is a very popular show.
Oh, it's a treasure trove of Andor actors, apparently, as well. Look, we're trying to wrap up here. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. But no, thank you so much, guys. It's been great. Thanks to everybody who's downloaded the episode. It's got really good response, which has been good because it's nice when you do this and people listen.
What does that feel like?
Yeah, that's all right. Also, Peppa Pig Pod is back after we basically broke for Andor, and we had live stuff going on, and Peppa Pod's back as well too. So if only we had the Peppa Pod numbers, geez, we would be invited to all the Andor red carpets. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Bye.
Thanks, Josh.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.